subscribe to get daily Manchester United content from passionate Reds, only on All for United.
What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to All for United. This is the Devil's Advocate female takeover. I'm back with Steph, and also I've got Vicky with me tonight. Ladies, how are we doing this evening?
Doing all right. Really good. Thank you.
Good, fantastic. It's been a bit of a busy day in the world of Manchester United. We've kind of had some goings on. We've had some we've not had some ins. We've had some outs and some rumours of some more outs as well. So just going to break it down and obviously talk about daily goings on at Manchester United as well. The lads are obviously on a winter break at the minute. Some of the lads have gone over to Dubai. Must be nice for some people. But they're putting in the work, looking ahead to this, congested fixtures we've got coming up with all the rescheduled games we've got to replay, and obviously Champions League and FA Cup. So we'll break it down. But I wanted to firstly start with Martial. Obviously, last week, Steph, we were talking about, is he going to leave? Does he have plans? Is he in Ralph's plans at all? And I guess now we have the answer. He is not, at least not for right now. He's not in the plans at the moment. He's obviously gone on loan to Sevilla. They are paying 100% of his wages, which is great news for Man United because he's on £250,000 a week, which is extortionate, with no loan fee. So it's good news for all parties, I think, in the long run, because obviously Martial needs to get game time. He needs to play his football, and it's not nice seeing someone just warm the bench when they've got so much potential. And I actually think that Martial does have that potential. I think, like I was saying last week, just not in this league, and that's absolutely fine. Or just not at Manchester United. So, Vicky, do you think it's a good move for Martial? Are you sad to see him go, or are you kind of a bit on the fence and saying, he's tried, it's not happened, off you go?
Not so on the fence as such. I feel like he should have moved on. He's not playing a lot, and when he is, they seem to favour Greenwood, and I think so because he's young. He should be, and I'm all favour for the move. I might miss him a little bit.
Yeah, I think looking back on his career,
he does play well. Sorry, he does play well with Ronaldo. So
yeah, there was potential, but I just think with the current state of affairs that Man United are in, and the current kind of system that we're trying to play, and the current ownership and the current manager, he just didn't fit into that. And that's, sometimes you just got to chalk it up and move on. He's obviously been at Man United for 7 seasons. I would probably say off the top of my head, I could think of maybe 2-3 seasons where he's been fantastic. He's been exceptional, but he's just not really hit the heights that he was supposed to be. Obviously, when he came to United, obviously £50 million, he was dubbed the next Thierry Henry. And everyone was, gassing him up and say he's got the clause in his contract as well about the Ballon d'Or. So they were obviously expecting him to be nominated for the Ballon d'Or. And unfortunately, he's not even come close to that. So it's a shame to see him go. I always love his chant. His chant is one of my favourites. But yeah, it is sad to see him go. Steph, are you sad to see him go?
Yeah, and I think it'll be interesting to see now when he goes over there, if he's just what everyone expected him to be. And then will Man United be like, wait, actually, should we actually sell him for good? So it'd be interesting to see now if he just becomes a Ballon d'Or player over there, and we're all like, why didn't you do that when you were here? Because he helped with the goal the other day, and he came on, like Vicky said, he worked well with Ronaldo, and obviously, like I said, he helped with the goal. So I'm like, he is able to do it, but he obviously his heart wasn't in it. So I'm very curious to see how he does over there.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think it's always very interesting when players go to a different league and you see them absolutely kill it. It's like Chris Smalling at Roma. He really stepped it up as soon as he left United. But, some players just suit a different league, and that's absolutely fine. You've just got to chalk it down to not the right person. It's like Lukaku. When he left United, absolutely smashed it. Obviously come back to the Premier League, not really got going, but Lukaku is not our player. not our discussion. I just want to come to some of the comments as well before we move on to the next topic. Obviously, good luck, Anthony Martial. I think we're all in agreement that we wish him all the best. Great guy, great player, but just not right at the moment. Even in all, I was watching some Martial highlights today. That goal against Fulham where he beat 3 and tucked it away. Almost forgot about that. Must be his best goal. I'd say so. Yeah, I'd say so. I think I'll always remember his debut and the commentary that came along with it. And it just got you, so gassed up. And it was great. It was great. I will miss him. Mark says, what a wonderful panel. Of course, absolutely. If we can get 50 million for him, let's sell him. I just have a feeling the fee will be as low as 30 million. It's typical United, really. We never really sell players for a profit. I think I read that Dan James was the only person that we've sold for a profit in a good few years, which is actually quite worrying because it is very worrying. So we don't usually sell players for a profit, but I agree. I think it will be maybe 35, 40 million. I don't think we'd get 50. Unless he absolutely smashes it over there. He might do. He might absolutely kill it and just, we might be in a bidding war then. You never know. But hopefully things go well for him. Evening, everyone. John here says, I think it's best for all parties. He's clearly talented, but like a lot of our players have not fulfilled their potential. As for his best goal, I love the FA Cup semi-final goal against Everton. I agree.
The only thing I will say is, I won't go into it too much. I didn't like the way he left his last appearance on them, there, because he booed, wasn't he? So I felt that was really quite
I didn't like that. I think that was bad fans to be booing a player. I don't care kind of what he's done. You don't.
Well, as much as they think they are, they're not really fans. Not if they're going to boo a player.
Yeah, you don't boo someone that's wearing the shirt. I think it was horrible. Even for him to have that as his last memory of Old Trafford, I think it's horrible.
Mm-hmm. And then he goes and kind of, I know it's not a thing like a pre-assist, but like he helped in the build up to a goal. And he was instrumental in that as well. So it's a shame how it left. And I also agree with you, ladies. I don't like booing players, even if they play for the club. They could be, the crappiest player on the pitch. You really don't like them. There's just something about them that you don't like. But if they've got that United shirt on and they wear the badge, then I'll always respect them. And, when they leave, like Martial has, I'll always wish them luck on their way. Thank you for everything you've done. But, it's now time to move on. I don't think there's ever been a player, apart from maybe Di Maria, but he's an exception. He's an exception to that rule. He's a snake.
Maybe Michael Owen a little bit.
Michael, yeah. Now that you're thinking about like Sanchez, rattling stuff off in the brain. So I'm, kind of being a hypocrite. Right. So I wanted to move on to our next topic, which is Greenwood. Leading on to that, I know obviously now that Martial's left, that number 9 is sitting there very lonely. Steph, do you think that Greenwood's ready for the number 9? Do you think he could take it?
I think he could, but in my head, I want Haaland to have it. If I'm going full on dreamland, that's what I would give it for him. So, see, if I was the owner of Man Utd, that's what I'd do, but I'm not. I think keep him where he is and wait a bit and see what happens when they hopefully sign people.
Yeah, no, I think Haaland is kind of living in dreamland, really. But you never know. The stranger things have happened. Vicky, do you think that Greenwood's ready for the number 9, and would you want him to have it?
I think I'd wait until next season. Would we rush him now? That's the question. Would you say, come and buy new shirts in number 9 right now?
Mm-hmm.
Would you do that? Would you go and buy it, or would you just wait until the end of the season, see what happens, see what you're going to do with that? I mean, yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure if Greenwood is ready for that mantle just yet. He's obviously got amazing potential. He's He's so talented, and he has the potential to be up there with some of the greats. Absolutely. His left foot, right foot, he's just lethal on all aspects. But what we do have to remember is that he is still very young. Obviously, when Greenwood had his really breakthrough season last season, it wasn't uncharacteristic, but it was out of the ordinary. You don't normally see like an 18, 19-year-old lad breaking through into the Manchester United first team, but he had to because we had so many injuries, and he had to step into that, and he overachieved in a way. And now, because he has overachieved so much, that expectation on Greenwood is so high that anything that he does that's, below that expectation or subpar, he's going to get dragged for it. And that's
sorry to interrupt you. I feel like sometimes he makes decisions that everyone's always like, "Oh, why did you do that?" But I think a lot of people do forget how young he is and that he's still learning. He's only, what is he, 19? If he's this good now, and he's training with Ronaldo, so
yeah, you got to admit he's training with Ronaldo, and yeah, he is a young kid, so he's going to make a few ballsy decisions just because when you're young, you're not patient enough, and you shouldn't be because you're 19 years old, but so you're going to go for it. You're going to make those chances and think in your head, well, I've just made myself something by doing something out of risk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sometimes those risks pay off and sometimes they don't, and you just got to chalk it off to, look, he is still extremely young. He's got two world-class strikers, two world-class forward players that are teaching him in Cavani and Ronaldo as well. He's obviously got Rashford as well, who I'll come on to in a minute, but he's obviously got Rashford to help him as well, and the likes of Sancho, who they both got international experience. But again, both of them are still very young as well, so learning from Ronaldo and Cavani is going to be instrumental in that boy's development, and also the likes of Anthony Elanga as well, because he is so super talented. I've always been Team Elanga. He's always been absolutely lethal and deadly. So I think that our forward line, at least for the next kind of 6-7 seasons, is sorted. If they really fulfill their potential and they really get going and they keep their head down, focus on their football, with our forward line is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just more, you get towards the back, that's where the problems sit. But that's a story for another day. So obviously we're going into this break now. This is the first time that Ralph has had kind of a lot of time with the players, without games. So what do you think we really need to work on during this break? Vicky, I'll come to you first.
Hate international breaks. I never think Man United come back from international breaks very well. I'm hearing a lot of things about how Raf, how he's put forward training, that he's alternating times rather than have them down to their scheduled times. Normally, you'd know what time you get there, you know what time you'd go and do this, when you'll be in the what area? Sorry, I've had a moment a minute ago. This memory fog. But so when I'm thinking about how much, because who's gone to Dubai? Is it?
So I think it's Rashford, Dalot, Jesse. I think I saw Maguire as well, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I know definitely that Dalot, Jesse, and Marcus, they've all gone to Dubai.
So they've all got, and we're seeing a lot of Rashford looks a lot more confident in Dubai right now. I think he's really sort of found a bit more confidence, and hopefully it will show when they come back. And I do think with Rashford it is best to bring him on rather than start him at the moment, just to keep that momentum going. And then I just actually don't know what to say right now. Sorry, I'm just trying to look for my water and I'm like, I can't find it.
That's okay, don't worry about it. Steph, I'll come to you next. What do you think we need to improve on? Because obviously we saw a massive improvement on the West Ham game. We controlled the game a lot better. We, held the ball, we carried it, we really, really put them under pressure, which was a lot better than, the previous games that we've had where we just looked so out of control. But the West Ham game looked a lot more, in control. what do you think Ralph, I'm not saying me, what do you think Ralph really needs to work on with the lads in this extended break?
I think just, again, like Vicky said, being consistent. I hate the international breaks and the winter breaks and all that as well. I think I don't like that they ended on a high and now they're gone off and they're going to come back now and just the same thing again. I think they need to work on set pieces. I want them to score a goal from a corner because that hasn't happened, which I think is insane. Just consistency. And again, I know the West Ham game was amazing. That was probably the highlight of my year so far. Watching 25 days in, but that was classic Man United. But it shouldn't be 15 seconds to go and we're about to draw with West Ham. That's not at Old Trafford. I don't think it shouldn't be like that. I still think there's a lot of work to be done, but that gave us all hope, I think. So I think just be consistent and win a trophy, win Champions League.
I like it. I love the optimism.
I'm a dreamer. I have high hopes. Haaland and the Champions League.
Haaland and the Champions League. You heard it here first. It's happening. Champions League, Haaland next season. It's all happening here. I agree with you. I think we do need to stay consistent, and I think the recent change in formation as well has really, really helped, because obviously Ralph said that he now wants to be a 4-3-3 instead of going with the 4-2-2-2, which didn't. I think we're all in agreement that it just wasn't working for the players that we had. It just wasn't the right fit. So I think this new system and new formation going forward worked a lot better, especially for the players. So I think
Bruno's done really well with the new formation, and you can see Tellers is just constantly trying to get the ball over to Ronaldo. Ronaldo's just had a couple off games, I think, but I think they're getting some formation and consistency going together. Really happy with that for a change, and so. But I think it's like Bruno's time to shine at the moment. So hopefully.
Absolutely. Yeah, and he's really coming into himself. Obviously, he scored twice at Villa. He's been creating lots and lots of good passes, good chances. So Bruno, obviously, he went through a little bit of a dry spell where he wasn't really creating stuff. But like you said, could have been the formation. Could have been, it just wasn't suiting him.
I think Ollie leaving was a lot for him. He found that really hard. I think he felt quite responsible. He was a bit everywhere. His head was not in the game.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And obviously, the way Ollie was with the players, I know everyone said it before, and I know this was one of his downfalls, that he was everyone's best friend. And that's what's probably hurt the players a lot more, is that not that he's been sacked in a sense, but they've lost their mate in a sense. So, and that's obviously not a healthy way to run a football club. Your manager should be your manager and not your best mate. But I do think it hit the players quite hard. That
really fear your manager. I think they need to go in at halftime and be scared if they do anything wrong.
Absolutely,
that's what I want.
Actually,
screams at them at halftime.
Yeah, absolutely.
I saw Ralph Rangnick kick off in a I think it was why is my brain Red Bull. He was really got quite cross of them, and I'm thinking,
I like it.
You need a bit of that.
You need a bit of that fire. You can't go through, manager after manager, just not being afraid of them and just taking absolute liberties, because it's not how it should be. You try and do that with Fergie, absolutely not. You'd be out the door straight away. So I do think,
especially when you don't have it with your captain on the team, because with Maguire, he's not someone that's going to go, sort yourself out or anything like that. So you do need someone to sort of say, I've got to up my game a bit, otherwise I'm going to be in trouble for my position. And so hopefully they're trusting him a bit more. He's not being so relaxed with them, so he knows them better, so he can say, you can do better than this. So let's hope so.
Absolutely. They really need a kick up the arse, and hopefully we've got a manager that can now do that. I'm just going to come to some of the comments. Ty, my guy, how are you doing? I need to get you back on the panel as well on this new and improved All for United. Mark as well. Obviously, how great are the ladies. Smash a like. Do exactly what Mark says, and obviously smash a like on the video. We really, really appreciate it. Ty also says Fergie could balance the friendship and manager relationship. It's such a fine line that most people in any form of leadership struggle with. I agree. There is a fine line between manager and friend. You have to be able to understand that line and not cross it yourself. So, but I don't think Ollie did that very well. I think he was always too nice. And John here says Ollie's only crime is that he was way too. Just said that. He was way too nice. He let them get away with awful shambolic performances towards the end. Now these players have to improve significantly now that he's gone. And I also think that we were talking about consistency, and I think the consistency also has to be in the lineup as well. Obviously, Ralph's been, he's been forced a bit to chop and change it a little bit. Obviously, with Victor's house getting broken into, Harry Maguire injury, little niggles here, there, and everywhere. How we've had Luke and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who were an absolute staple of Ollie's tenure, just not there anymore. I know they've both got, little niggles, but we've seen Tellez and Dallo really, really come into their own. And they've, in my opinion, they've absolutely smashed it. Because I always said this, especially with Dallo. Tellez not so much. I think he still needs a little bit of time. But Dallo, I've always said that he is a good player. And all he needs is a consistent run of games to really find his feet in the team, get that chemistry on the right-hand side, and people will see him for what he is. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me that he's not up to Manchester United standard, but I think he can be. He can get there. Like I said, he just needs that constant run of games, which is what he's getting now. And we've seen he was obviously fantastic at the weekend. He's been fantastic for a few games now. So I honestly think that this is not a slander on Wan-Bissaka, because I think Wan-Bissaka is absolutely fantastic. His one-on-one defending is up there with the best. I think just his positional awareness and his forward play needs to improve a little bit. But Dallo has that forward play. He just needs to kind of improve on his defensive awareness and positional awareness now. But like we said, he is getting there because he's had that constant run of games now. He's had that chemistry building up. So I think consistency is everything in all aspects of the field. It's like the team, the formation, the style of play that you want to play. I think consistency is key to everything.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like if they keep switching it out, it's just going to, again, get all inconsistent. And I do love Wan-Bissaka, though. I'm going to say that. I think he's more defensive than Tellez. But again, we don't know. Maybe if they're more consistent, he could step up still.
The positions are there for the taking. People can't get too comfortable in this team. And that's exactly what
I like. I like that now they're all fighting, basically, for their place, which I love. This is what they need. Even Rashford now with the Langa's breathing down his neck, and he's scored 2 goals in the last 2 games coming off the bench. So he's obviously, it's working for Rashford, and I love Alanga though. So
it's absolutely, it's great. Healthy competition is exactly what is needed.
What's going to happen there? Who's going to start?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I was just going to say that healthy competition is absolutely paramount in a team, because we've seen it in the past with Luke Shaw especially and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I think they've both got very, very complacent, and they both said, well, there's no one else really to challenge for my spot. So I'm obviously going to play all the time. So it doesn't really matter if I drop a 4 out of 10 performance or a 3 out of 10 here and there, as long as, I keep, at least trying for the team. But now that you've got 2 backup options that are finding their feet and they're really getting into their own, they need to step it up. And they need to fight their way back into this team. It's the same with Harry Maguire, Victor Lindelof and Rafael Varane. Which one of them is going to start? Obviously, Maguire had a fantastic game at the weekend. I wouldn't say fantastic. He had a good game at the weekend. Better than usual, yeah. We'll go with that. It was much improved. But obviously, Victor Lindelof has been great as well. And obviously, I think Rafael Varane is the only one in that back line that you would say is, the staple, and who is going to partner him. You're not going to have Maguire and Lindelof again because, as we know from last season, they don't go. They just don't go together. So I think it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top, especially when Victor's back from Sweden and after he's, after this break and after he's sorted his personal life out as well. So it'll be interesting to see, but I love a bit of healthy competition because, complacency is just shocking. I wanted to quickly move on to our lad, Marcus Rashford. Absolutely adore him. I think that any United fan that says they hate Marcus Rashford is definitely trolling, because there is no way that you could hate Marcus Rashford after everything that he's done for United, the country, kids, everything. He's just an absolute diamond in the rough, and I'm so happy that we have him. And as Mark says here, Marcus, absolutely. He's obviously in Dubai at the minute with Dallo and Jesse. Rashford is really looking like he's starting to pick up a little bit of form. He's obviously scored 2 and 2 now. He's obviously scored at West Ham and then at Brentford as well. So, and he's smiling again. He's really starting to, he looks like he's enjoying the football again. So the one thing I wanted to ask you, Vicky, where do you think Rashford needs to improve the most? Because there's a few areas of his game that people say, he's always offside, his positional awareness, his decision making. What do you think that Marcus needs to improve on to really take him to that next level where we know he can get to?
Well, I think we wish when he was the last 7 games, especially when he started, he was just going for it, and then when it actually came to making the right timings, he was just not doing it, and then he was getting there too close, and then they were already you're in between a goalie and a defender, and they've won it over, and it was just constantly like that for him. And then when he was just running up, and then he would be standing there and he'd be waiting for the ball, but a couple of times Greenwood never passed, and you get to see the body language dip down and everything else like that. It's just you need a bit more. It's almost like they don't play together on a 5-a-side when they're on the training ground, and so you're like, what's going on? People missing out things here. Rashford has really suffered from it, and it's not because he's getting school dinners for children. So. I definitely think when it comes to Marcus is that he's a good round egg, but it's just he really I think he had quite a lot of things going on in his personal life as well. And what you don't know behind closed doors is, and you don't need to know what's going on in and outs of every player's life, do you?
Of course.
So I definitely think that was playing a part to play. So I think, doing what they're doing now, bringing him on, because what's wrong with making a substitution? What's wrong with bringing on fresh players, especially like you said earlier, that they want to keep fighting for their spot? So I think until, if it keeps on going like this, I guess Rashford is going to appear more first time. But right now, I'm quite happy to keep him doing what he's doing.
Absolutely. I completely agree. I just wanted to come to this comment as well before. So John says, brilliant to get 2 goals in 2 games for Marcus, particularly the last minute winner. So pleased for him. Definitely. I couldn't agree more. Going into the international break, it's very rare that we ever go into an international break on a high. It's usually we've lost or withdrew going into an international break. So it's great that even though we hate these breaks, and I think it's the winter break, and we hate these breaks and we don't really want them to go ahead, but if they do, you want to go into them on a high. You don't want to go sitting for 2 weeks on a loss. It's just one of the worst feelings ever. Also, John here says, for me, his decision-making needs to improve, get his head up and know where his teammates are to improve on passing and moving. That's where he needs to improve the most. I completely agree. And I think Tony agrees with you as well. The only problem I have with Rashford is he seems to be too greedy. He always wants to run with the ball, and sometimes it's easier to pass the ball. I completely agree with both of those comments. I think his decision making at times is not the best. I do think sometimes he looks up and he kind of gets tunnel vision, and all he sees is the goal or the player in front of him, and he tries to, do his fancy feet, take players on. But it's sometimes the best thing to do is just get your head up, look, like, where's Greenwood, where's Sancho, where's Ronaldo? Just pass the ball. That's my thing as well. Steph, would you agree?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is the decision making. I feel like he has that thing where obviously he loves Man United so much that it seems like he's trying to just always do like a really special goal, like a wonder goal, or he's trying to do the classic United, which he did the other day, but which he knows. But his decision making with the little step over sometimes, and you're like, just don't do that, just pass the ball. And just again, consistency. I feel like he it's in there, but he just needs to just perfect it, basically. And I don't know, should he be a super sub now for another little while and let Elanga kind of do the little job throughout the game, and then bring Rashford on and scare the other team and be like, look who's about to come on, and then score. So yeah, I don't know. I think just decision making. I completely agree with that.
Yeah, I think that's one of the key points. It's kind of the consensus in the comments as well. Ty says, love Rashford with all my heart. His decision in the final third is his biggest weakness. Shoots when he should pass, vice versa. I think it's very consistent with all you guys in the comments and the panel as well. I think it is his consistency. Also, I swear the man was born offside sometimes. Every time, because I actually wasn't at the game at the weekend. I had my best friend's baby boy's christening. So I wasn't at the game, and all I saw on Twitter was, everyone was going, oh, Rashford. And in my head, I was just like, he's offside. I was like, because it triggers in my head. I'm like, Rashford, probably offside. So I think he does need to improve on that. Obviously, he has been improving a lot. I remember last season, I think there was a game where he was offside like 11 times, and it was awful. So I think that's another aspect of his game that he really needs to improve on. But I think the general consensus all around is his decision making. Mark even says his decision making is a problem for me still, but Greenwood has been incredibly selfish at times at the moment. I completely agree with that as well. I think there's no cohesion at the moment with any of the lads up front. I think they're all just trying to break into the team, and that's absolutely, that's absolutely fine. But there's other ways you can break into the team rather than just scoring. Pull off an assist. Absolutely. You don't need to just score all the time. So if he and Greenwood can start getting their heads up, as Rach said, our goals will increase substantially. Yeah, I completely agree. John says he needs to vary his game. If the defender knows what you're going to do every time, it's easy to defend. If you vary your game, the defender will have to guess what you're going to do. I don't know whether you talk about Rashford or Greenwood there, but I think that really applies to Greenwood at the moment. He's starting to become a bit predictable. He's going to cut in, shoot. That's, he's starting to become a little predictable, but obviously one of his greatest aspects is he can shoot with either foot. So he still does have that element of, surprise. Which foot is he going to go with? He's going to bend it. Is he going to, curl it? But, and John says there, yeah, both of them. Yeah, I completely agree. But yeah, there is still that element of surprise with Greenwood because of his feet. But I do think he does like that cut in and shoot move quite a lot. And defenders have started to become, savvy to it and really kind of getting on the front foot with him and closing him down. Before we go, ladies, I wanted to talk about transfers for a minute because I was watching Sky News before I came on while I was just having my tea, and they said that Crystal Palace are interested in Donny van de Beek on loan until the end of the season. It'll be the same kind of deal as Martial. So it will be, they pay his full wages with no loan fee until the end of the season, with the option to extend it, I believe, with the option to extend it for a further year. So obviously we've spoken about Donny before. Everyone has spoken at length about Donny and why he's not playing. Obviously, it's 2 managers now that have not played him. So whether there's something going on in training, he's not impressing, he's not gelling with the rest of the first team. Do you think that Donny moving away from Manchester United, even if it is on loan, do you think that's a good move for Donny or United? Vicky, I'll come to you first.
Well, I'm kind of like, the only way I've got 2 minds about it right now is that we've got a really short form of midfielders. They're very
Good ones.
You take Donny away, and then you're like really like, oh, okay, because it's just always going to stick with Matic, Fred, and McTominay. And I know right now that it's been all right, but of course then Donny is like I think he's like, they say he's not doing very well at the training ground. He's not committing them enough time, and obviously then he switched agents, but both agents are both sort of being a bit funny, so he can't be sold. But if he went to Crystal Palace, I mean, it'd be good for him to get some minutes and then show Rangnick or the new manager that's coming, who's going to be able to fit the shoes of give me a place, let me come back and give me a place. Crystal Palace aren't exactly a threat for Man United, so I'd have him go to Palace. He needs if he's gonna prove a point, and he can prove it at Crystal Palace. Yeah,
absolutely. And Palace are really on the up at the minute. I mean, they've got a great manager. They've got some really good players as well. So I think it would be great for Donny, maybe just to go out on loan. But I'm still a massive admirer of him. I do think he has a place in this team, but like I said, I'm not on the training ground. I don't see what Ralph sees. I don't see what the first team coaches see. So it's all right from the outside looking in at saying, oh, why is Donny not playing? Why is he not starting? But like you said, it could be, extenuating factors on the training ground. John says, I personally think Palace will be a good move for Donny, gives him Premier League experience and then returns in the summer. When we may have Ten Hag as a manager, we shall see. And obviously we know the relationship between Ten Hag and Donny. He's obviously a massive admirer of him, as I think a lot of people are. I think the general consensus is that it's a shame that Donny has not, hit his full potential. I mean, he came out of an Ajax team that nearly got to the Champions League final, and he was instrumental in that team. But going to Palace as well, I think he really needs game time if he wants to get into the Netherlands squad for the World Cup and obviously future tournaments down the road as well. He really needs to show Louis van Gaal what he's made of. And even if you're playing for a lower Premier League side, you're still playing for Premier League football against the likes of City, Liverpool, and Chelsea all the time. So
my thing is, though, if he goes there and he absolutely becomes like their star player, will Man United just look like absolute idiots and be like, why haven't you been playing him this whole time? That's my thing. I'm like, obviously I want him to go. He deserves to play. Like he's from what I've seen of him, he's amazing. Like you said, at Ajax and all that, he's been amazing. And if he goes there and he becomes literally their best player, well, what then? We'll all be raging. We'll be like, what is the difference? You're in the Premier League, you're smashing it. I hope he goes and does well and proves everyone, all the 2 managers that haven't picked him, I hope he goes and does well and comes back and does amazing for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's a class player. Absolutely no doubt about his abilities at all. Even Mark says, I love Donny. Ten Hag said it's a crime not to play him. I cannot understand why he isn't building up more minutes. The only thing that I could think of now is that this is 2 managers now. This is not just Ollie. This is not just Ralph. This is both of them. So they are both seeing something that we're not. And obviously we're not on the training ground. So I think, when he's come on, he's not done the best that he can do. And obviously I understand that it's hard to make an impact in 2 minutes, or even if he's lucky enough to get 5.
Yeah.
Literally. Tony here says, I think it will be Ten Hag in the summer. Just got a feeling. The comments he made about Donny not that long ago now, letting him go on loan, but with no buy option. Same with Martial. What do you ladies think about the manager situation? I haven't got your thoughts on it. Vicky, who do you think we're going to get?
Right now, I think it's just going to be Ten Hag. But do you know what? It absolutely chops and changes like the wind with me at the moment. So I literally was like, it was the other week, and I was going, yeah, I don't see Hag coming, and then this week I am. So it is, but I think that's actually generally from what I've seen is quite a few people's opinion. I could be wrong. I normally am, but so it's kind of exciting to see because it's also, you know, that Rangnick's already thinking about players for this next manager. So it's like the more talks that you can hear coming along for the rest of the season, then it's going to become clear on what manager we're going to have, rather than one of them coming out saying, "Oh, I'm going to go for the job."
Yeah, absolutely. I think the front runners that you've got to think about are Poch and Ten Hag, really. Steph, which one of them would you prefer?
I don't know, because then if you think Poch got Spurs to the Champions League finals, so I'm like, that's Spurs. So I'm like, that. So yeah, but then Ten Hag again is amazing as well. From what I've seen, I haven't seen a lot of what he's done, but I've seen researched a few things, and yeah, I think either one, but I'm leaning more towards Ten Hag. I have a feeling he's going to be the one.
I think that's a lot of people's consensus. They're a very big admirer of Ten Hag. Andy says Donny needs to play or he won't be going to the World Cup. That's his priority. I completely agree. He needs to think about himself. And one other player that I will quickly touch on before we leave that needs to think about the World Cup is Jesse Lingard. I know he got very, very close last year when he was playing with West Ham, and he was absolutely smashing it, and he was really in contention for that spot at the Euros. But he's another player that will be thinking about his future in international football. Obviously, there's been rumours of him going to Newcastle. I think, it'll be the same kind of situation until the end of the season. They pay his wages, the same kind of deal as Martial and what Donny has been proposed as well. Jesse Lingard, I know, Steph, we spoke about him last week, so I'm not going to touch on him too much because I think the general consensus is his time at Manchester United is over and he's done his best, but maybe he needs to move on to another team to really cement his place in the international team, because he will be thinking about England, absolutely, especially at his, I don't want to say his age, he's not old, but he's not young either. He needs to be thinking about his international career, and maybe going to Newcastle where he could shine in that team would be the best thing for him and the best thing for Manchester United as well, because like what you said about Palace, they're not a direct opposition for us, whereas at the minute selling into West Ham, they are as much as we don't like it and as much as we you don't want to hear it, West Ham are a direct opposition for Manchester United at the moment. Newcastle aren't, with all due respect, at least not at the minute until their cash flow starts tumbling, but they're not a direct opposition at the minute. So selling Jesse Lingard to Newcastle I think is probably one of the best options. Whether that's the best option, whether that's what he wants, or whether he wants to go somewhere a bit more higher up the table where he can get a lot more exposure for the England team. But Vicky, what do you think about Lingard? Do you think Newcastle is a good move for him?
Well, I was thinking with the way he showed at West Ham that this is like his prime time of his age, of his career, that he should be on the pitch, scoring goals, making efforts. So, yeah, I think he should be as good as gone just for himself. I know that's quite a woman's thing to say, but I'd send him over to Newcastle because it's got nothing to do with Man United anymore. They're just so far down. And then he can get his minutes, he can score some goals. And like you say, he can be really good for England. I mean, we're all like fans of England. Well, Steph is
Born in England, so I'm kind of like
On the fence.
yeah.
so that's it for me. You just you'd hand him over just for the best of his career to sort of continue, because he was having such a good time at West Ham.
Absolutely. It was great to see him really happy at West Ham. And after all the shite he's been through, he's had a lot of mental health issues that he's recently spoken about. Obviously, he wasn't enjoying his football. He wasn't playing. He had some family problems as well. So seeing Jesse actually play football and actually shine was great, because obviously he's local lad. Like, he's like, just want him to do well. Like, all I want for Jesse Lingard is for him to do well.
But do you think he's clocked off for Man United? As in, do you think his head has just gone, that's it, I'm out?
I think so.
I think so. I don't think his head's for United, who always have a great love for the club, but he wants to be somewhere else.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I'm just going to go to some comments as well. While I'm not certain on who I want, I think Ten Hag is the one that makes the most sense. It wouldn't surprise me if we ended up with Poch, though. I think Ten Hag would be one of the best in Europe in 2 to 3 years. Played his trade under Pep when he was a coach at Bayern's second team, and he's been nothing short of amazing at Ajax. I would put him as one of the best now, never mind in 2 to 3 years. Wow, that's amazing. Newcastle will be great for Jesse. Went on a stag do up there in October. It's a lovely place. He will enjoy it up there. And on that note, yeah, I completely agree. Newcastle is a wonderful place. Absolutely wonderful. It's very, very cultured. And I think Jesse will like it up there. On that note, ladies, I'm going to end the stream here. Don't forget as well, guys and gals in the comments, if you're watching over on Twitter as well, come over to All for United. Smash a like, subscribe, and get in the comments. Let us know who you want as the next manager, who you think it's going to be. So, Vicky, do you want to shout out your Twitter?
Yeah, sure. It's just there. It's Witterbird84. Oh, I hate saying that.
Steph, do you want to shout yours out?
Yeah, mine is at Steph Greywind.
Nice. And you can follow me on RachMUFC7. Obviously, follow us on All for United as well. These shows will be weekly, as I mentioned last week, with a different panel of ladies each week. And you can follow me for all, Manchester United content, NBA content, just random stuff as well. So don't forget to like and share, like and subscribe as well. And we will see you guys next week. We've got a whole heap of content coming in the next few days with a lot of the lads as well. So yeah, if you're about, hop on in. So with that, I will leave you guys and have a good evening. Bye.
Bye.